I'm going to show you how to do a scale drawing for your flagpole project for the measurements that you calculated. So in this particular example, I'm going to be using an angle of elevation, and I calculated 31.1 degree angle of elevation, a 15.3 angle of depression, and I was actually able to get 50 feet away. Now this isn't your actual flagpole that you measure. This is a different one, so don't be expecting to get the exact same measurements that I am. This is just an example. I went through, showed all my work, all my calculations, and I ended up getting this. And so what I want to do is I want to check that using the nSpire iPad app to make sure that that's actually the true answer, or the height, based off of these angles and distances. So what you're going to do is recreate this drawing using the nSpire iPad app. Notice how the app has the angle of elevation, the depression, the distance away I was, and then it actually verified that I did get the actual right height. So this isn't just like a picture where you're just going to type in these things and make a pretty picture. It's actually going to be calculating angles and distances to verify your math. So I'm going to walk you through that process. So the first thing you're going to do is you are going to open the nSpire iPad app. You're going to go to Add, and you're going to do a geometry page. Once you're there, you're going to be putting your name on the page first. So each person's going to be doing their own scale drawing. So in order to do that, you're going to go to Actions, you're going to go to Text, you're going to tap on the screen and put in your name. So I will do that now, and I have it there. So all these instructions are actually on your handout, so you can follow along with them, and then look back at them just so you have an idea of what I did if you're just watching this for the first time. All right, now we were probably measuring in feet. Centimeters would probably be a really inefficient way of doing measurements, so you might want to reevaluate if your stuff is in centimeters. So I asked you to change this scale in the upper right hand side to make that distance not be centimeters, but let's make it in feet. And let's have, in order to fit our flagpole, which is really tall, let's have that distance be 3 feet. So I am going to change that to 3, and then I'm going to make it say feet, and you're going to press enter. Now that distance, when we draw our lines and everything else, is going to represent 3 feet. All right, now we're ready to go. So we're going to start with our line of sight. So if you look back at the picture that we did when we had our calculations, we have a few things here. We have the person standing, they were 50.8 feet away, so we're going to need to draw on that line of sight. We're then going to need to do the angle of elevation, the angle of depression, and then we're going to draw on our flagpole next. So we're going to be creating that drawing. So let's do the line of sight first. So in order to do that, you're going to go back to this main menu, and you are going to go to points and lines, and you're just going to draw a line. And I would start in the mid to lower left of the screen, so I'm just going to tap there. I'm going to try and make a horizontal line of sight the best I can. You can always grab the end of it to change either the length or just to rotate it a little bit, but try making it as horizontal as you can. And then this is your line of sight. Now, one of the things you can do if you tap on the line, this is in the embellishing and adding to your diagram. I'm just going to kind of go out of order here. You can change that, and you can change the weight, meaning how thick or thin it is, and you can make it dashed since it's a line of sight. You can change the color, whatever you want to do. So I'll make mine pink for this particular one. All right, tap anywhere on the screen to get it to not be blinking anymore, because now you're ready to draw on your angle of elevation. So in order to do that, you're going to go back to the main menu, and you are going to be doing transformation, and you're going to be doing a rotation of that line of sight that you just did. So you are going to tap on the eyeball. That's where the person's eye was, out to the flagpole. Tap somewhere along that line. And then I said tap the little book on the side. Make sure you highlight pi and hit done. Right now, what you're going to do is you need to type in what your angle of elevation was. And mine was 31.1. You're going to type in whatever you got. And we'll basically take that angle and rotate it exactly that degree. And you can move that little angle measurement over to the angle of elevation. All right, now we're ready to do the angle of depression. So a positive angle rotates the line up. This time when we do the rotation, we're going to put in our angle of depression. We're going to have to go back to the book, press enter on pi, but we're going to have to use a negative angle. So I'm going to do negative, and mine was 15.3. And that did not work. I don't think I tapped the line. Let's try that again. We'll do rotation, tap the point, tap the line, go to the book, press pi, hit done. There, that looks a lot better. And you may run into these little things and you'll be like, what's happening? Just start over, just like I did. And then move back to there. So there's my angle of depression. All right. So now what I can do is I can now draw in my flagpole. I need to have a line that's perpendicular to that line of sight. So I am going to go and follow the directions where it says to make the flagpole. So this time we're going to be doing a construction, and we want it to actually be perpendicular to that line of sight. So I tap on the line of sight. Notice how it's bolded now, and I just need to tap somewhere above maybe that angle of elevation. So I tap up there on the screen, and it made my flagpole perpendicular to that line of sight. You can just drag on the ends to extend it if you want. If yours doesn't extend, you can always extend the ends of them by just dragging. Okay, now what we need to do next is, remember in my diagram I was a certain distance away. That's the next measurement I took. So basically what you're doing is you're putting all the measurements that you took out at the flagpole into this nSpire app, and it's going to calculate the height for you. So I got to get the line of sight measurement out to the flagpole, so I need to know where those intersect. So that's the next thing that you're going to do. Is you are going to go to points and lines, and you're going to go to intersection points. So what I'm going to do is I need to know where my line of sight and my flagpole intersected. So I tapped on the line of sight, I tap on the flagpole, and it's going to tell me where those two intersected. And what I need to do is I need to put in my distances. I need to find that distance and make it what I measured, how far away I was. So that's where you're going to go to back to the tools, or the main menu, and this time you're going to go to measurement, and you're going to find the length. So you're going to tap the eyeball, and you're going to tap where the flag and the line of sight intersected. That's 37.7 feet. Well, I'm going to need to change that because I was 50.8 feet away. So if I drag just on the top of the flagpole up here at the point of construction, I need to change that to 50.8. So I'm just going to drag. I think you can actually go into the text box, and you can actually make that be what you want it to be too. So if I can't get it, I can just do this. I'm going to do 50.8. Oops, I think I need a little space in there. And if that doesn't work, you can try dragging it again. Let's see if I can do 0.8 there. There we go. It just needed the space. And then I'm going to extend my angle of elevation outward if I can. Do the same thing on the bottom. And here's what I got. I have every measurement that I took out at the flagpole on my diagram. So I'm ready to calculate the height of the flagpole. Now the height of the flagpole is basically where my angle of elevation intersects my flagpole and my angle of depression intersects it. So if I want, I can add in the ground. That's where the bottom angle of depression and the flagpole intersect. And what you can do is you can actually go back to that construction and do a parallel line. Tap on your line of sight, tap somewhere below, and you can kind of drag this out and move it down so that that's at the base. You can actually change, I gotta make sure I tap on the line. I can change that to make it green, like the grass. I can add in a text box if I want and label grass by it. I would highly suggest doing that and kind of embellishing it. But now what I'm going to do is I need to find the height of the flagpole. So I need to find some more intersection points. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go to points and lines, intersection points, and I'm going to first do the angle of elevation. I'm going to tap on that line, and then I'm going to tap on the flagpole. That's the top of the flagpole because I'm going to measure a distance again. So I need the bottom of the flagpole. I'm going to go to intersection points. I'm going to do the angle of depression and the flagpole. That's where those intersect. And to get the total height, all I have to do is go to the measurement. So I'm going to go to measurement, I'm going to go to length, I'm going to tap at the top where those two crossed, tap at the bottom, and that was 44.5. I was pretty darn close. I might have had a little bit of rounding in my answer or whatever, but that's pretty close, and I might want to go back and check just to make sure. So you can embellish this a little further by adding in, as I said, more text boxes. So you can go to actions, you can add a text, and you can say that this right here is the total height. So that's the total height of the flagpole. Notice if I were to change this a little bit and kind of drag the distance away, the whole diagram will change. Notice how that total height changes as well. I'm going to try to get it back to 50.8. So that's why it's a scale diagram, because it's taking the angles and the measurements and then basing the total height based off of that. So then if you want to add a little bit more, I told you could actually add the flag in the instructions. It's under embellishments. You can go to menu, you can go to shapes, you can go to polygon. So I could just go to the top of the flagpole and I could tap here and make a polygon. That's really bad. I think you can drag it and make it a little bit better, but you have the idea. So if you tap on that, you can go to a fill to make a flag of a certain color if you wanted to. That was actually the border, so let's make the fill orange. And then you can really make it look really nice if you want. So that in a nutshell is a scale drawing, and I wish